Well, hello and welcome to another edition of the Alpha Anywhere demo and Q&A. I'm Dave McCormick from Alpha Software, and I am pleased to host today's presentation. Dean McCormick, no relation, who often gives these things on Wednesday, is out. He will be back next Wednesday. Today we're going to do sort of a shortened version as we regroup from our DevCon 2016, which took place last week. For those of you not in attendance, some of the highlights last week included the new app launcher, the control bar builder, and actually quite a few other topics that we hope to get to in the next coming months during these series. But today we have one presentation that came out of the webinar, and that was mobile app testing using a device farm. This is a system by which you can actually test out your applications using real hardware remotely, so you don't actually have to own the hardware. And this is a presentation Chris Martin gave, and he's back with us today to give it to you guys. So let's take Chris off mute here. And hello, Chris, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly. So I see your
Yes.
screen, and take it away.
Take it away. Hey, that music reminds me. I feel like I'm so back at the conference.
I know, really.
Okay, so today we're going to be talking a little about mobile app testing. I presented this last week, and let's start off with talking about why you would want mobile to do mobile app testing in the mobile world. And the next slide here shows basically why. A little bit over 2 years ago, ZDNet did an article on Android device configurations that are out there, and at the time they had over 18,000 different device configurations. Sounds like a lot, doesn't it, Dave?
That's an awful lot. I can only imagine it's become more over the last 2 years as well.
Yeah, it's become more over the last 2 years. I mean, in these different configurations, they all stem from, different screen sizes. I mean, you have mobile phone devices, you have tablets, and all sorts of things that Android is um, running on. Different OS versions, like Donut, Gingerbread, Ice Cream Sandwich, and Kit Kat. I love the names. You love those names, Dave?
I like them after lunch, yeah. Yeah.
Yes, at lunch. I haven't had lunch, so I'm kind of hungry right now. But so, anyways, other things that play into the different fragmentations and configurations of the devices are performance levels, manufacturers and providers. Manufacturers being HTC, Samsung, Motorola, and LG, and also different providers like AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile, and who knows what other kinds of different providers we have all around the world. 2 years ago, this was the graph that they showed to show this device fragmentation. Looking at the upper left here, you can see that these are the more popular devices, and as you get down to the lower right here, these are the more obscure, less used devices that are out there. Today I'm going to specifically be talking about the device farm and what its benefits are using the device farm. And this is by Amazon Web Services, and this is just one of the offerings that they have. They have a wide range of different offerings. I haven't even looked through all of them yet. So one of the benefits is it allows you to do automated testing. What I mean by automated testing is that you're able to test your application, either writing scripts to test your application, which they have many different tools for doing this. Calabash is one of the tools, but there are about 5 for each of the different platforms, tools that you can use for doing automated testing. The other benefit is that you have remote access to a whole bunch of different devices, so you don't have to go out and buy 20 different phone devices, tablet devices, whatever. With Amazon's device farm, you have the ability to test native applications, and these native applications are basically like your any of your applications that you've published through PhoneGap that give you a finished IPA file for iOS or a finished APK file for Android, or for every one of the 2 people out there doing it, you may be creating a ZAP file for Windows Phone. But you can also test your web applications that you create with Alpha Anywhere on these devices and see what they're going to look like. So again, you're testing against real phones and tablets, and so you don't have to go out and buy these things. One of the things I liked about AWS compared to some of the other ones that I was looking at is they have the pay as you can go option here, and basically the pay as you go option is like 17 cents a minute And once you open up your account, you get like 250 free minutes that you can use, which I'm still working on my 250 free minutes. Or you can get unlimited access, and basically you select the device or device. It can get pretty pricey, but you have unlimited access for an entire month. But for each device, it costs $250 for the entire month. But that's the unlimited access, and depending on how much testing you're doing, you're gonna have to decide which thing you want to select here, because pay as you go at 17 cents a minute. If you did 24 hours of testing, that would pretty much add up right to your $250 right there. And when I say 250, again, that's for each device that you pre-select that you want to test on for an entire month. One of the other benefits about testing remotely is that if you have to test your application on the new Samsung Galaxy S7, that you can do this safely from home. You don't have to worry about it blowing up on you. It's in another location. So, Dave, do you have one of those?
No, I don't. Thank you.
You don't have one of those? Okay. Alrighty. I just did basically at the show, I did slideshows, stepping through it because we weren't too sure about, you don't always have the greatest connection at different hotels. And the one we were at, sometimes it didn't have the greatest connection. So basically I did slideshows here. And if you go to Amazon and you sign up for an account, then the address is right here, aws.amazon.com. And if you go in and you click on the right-hand side here, sign into console, I'm going to step you through everything that I did to do this. So I clicked it, and basically this next screen here is where I have the ability to sign in. Some of this may look familiar to you if you have an Amazon account. This is pretty much the same sign in for your Amazon shopping account here. Next screen, I've already been doing some testing on the device farm, so this is showing up here in the upper left-hand corner. So this is the first screen that I would get to. And like I said, there's lots of stuff on here. If I scroll to the next screen here, you can see where device farm is down here on the lower right-hand side, and there's a lot more services below here. But these are just screenshots, so I can't really scroll through it right now. Okay, so connecting on the device farm, that now brings me to this screen here where you have the ability to do automated testing or remote access to an actual device. And if we have time, I'm going to show the remote access to the device later on, like I did at the conference. But anyways, you create this. As you can see here, I already created one test, and this was a built-in fuzz test. And what this built-in fuzz test did was it went in and it did some screenshots and basically sent some random commands back and forth from the device to the device, random touches on the screen. It was, and this test ran for about 4 minutes to do this test, and it gave us some screenshots. The test that I'm going to go through here that I have screenshots for was another type of test in which I'll show you in a few here. But anyway,
so question for you.
Yes.
So the test ran for about 4 minutes, but on the screen it says 22. Was it because you were testing multiple devices at the same time?
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. Yes, because I did test multiple devices, and that's why it says 22 minutes over there. I forgot to mention that.
Thanks.
Thanks, Dave.
Right.
Cool. So anyways, on the next screen here, you can see we have the different options that I mentioned. You can test native applications on Android or iOS devices, or you can test your web applications using written using HTML5 and JavaScript and so forth. But basically, a web application, you can test it and see how it looks on devices. What I chose to do here was testing one of our actually the application that was at our conference that Dave wrote. We put this to the test to see how it would look running it through Amazon's device farm. So we selected that. We have the option now we can upload the IPA or APK file. The initial test that I did that took 4 minutes was done on iOS devices. This test that I did here was done using Android devices. So basically, I click on upload. I go find my APK file, which is right here. This was the debug APK file that I happened to put through the test here.
So now the APK file, that is basically a native Android application, or in this case, a hybrid Android application, all packaged up into like a zipped up package. Is that Is that how
Yeah,
it?
all of your files that you create through PhoneGraph, or if you're creating them natively, if I created this using native
Mhm.
uh, Android development or iOS development or Windows Phone, they all get compiled to a file name, and that file, although it doesn't say it, is actually a zip file. So the IPA, if you rename it to .zip, you can go through and see exactly what's in there. Same thing with the APK and the XAP file for Windows.
So for Windows, it's a IPA. Is that right? For
Well,
iOS?
Windows, it's a ZAP file, XAP,
Ah, okay. Thanks.
ZAP file. So, anyways, this is a little screen representation of my upload. Once my package is uploaded, I get a little more information about it. The package, which Dave named PG Shell because he was actually doing this using PhoneGap Shell in Alpha Anywhere. I didn't change the name. I just used the same package name here. So it actually pulled some information out about the application here. The next step down here in the lower right, we are going to see the actual test that I ran here. In this test, I used the built-in Explorer. This test ran a little longer. I actually kind of like this test. These are, like I said, two of the built-in tests. We did a fuzz test and an Explorer test. I like the Explorer test better after I ran this one because it actually went in and found buttons on the screen and clicked on them and brought you to different screens and did a lot more than just random testing, which the fuzz test was kind of a random test. Here are some of the other listings. Like I said, Calabash is one of the development tools that you can use. And here's a list of many others here. And also, Amazon has their own API that you can use to create test scenarios. So you can actually run your application through specific tests that you want to run, use up your time with. But this one we use Explorer. So our next step here is click on the next step, and because I hadn't been on here for a while, that's why this screen pops up here, and because I had the computer sitting here for a little while, so I had to log in again. So you may have to do that. You may see the screen, otherwise you might go directly to this screen right here, which I now have the option to select my devices or use some of the pre-devices. This came out automatically. So these are some of the devices that they recommended, and I'm guessing that these are more of your popular devices, the Samsung Galaxy S5, LG G-Pad 7, and so forth here. And of course, it's Amazon, so they put their Kindle Fire up there. They want you to test on there. So, but you also can select from a device pool, and that's what I did. I created a device pool, which I'm going to show you how I created here ahead of time, but I can also get to it through here by clicking on different top devices that for my device pool that I created. And I created one called Alpha DevCon Samsung Test here. So I selected that. I was creating the device pool.
Yep.
I selected a couple of Samsung Galaxies. Next, I want I could either hit next step here or actually no, that's where I was. I I was actually created those. I brought those in. You can see here these are my devices that I selected in the device pool, Alpha DevCon Samsung Test. My next step here, I have an option here. I can upload a zip file that I want them to extract before I did this. Who knows what that zip file is contain examples of things that you can do, many examples of things that you can do. I can also upload another APK file that I need to have on there when I'm testing this application. And it may be because the application is going to go open this application and do something in there first. So you can upload another APK file that you want to have tested at the while you're doing the device tests that you have. You can also turn radios on and off. In this case, I just had all the radios on, so I had the Wi-Fi on, Bluetooth, GPS. I didn't need any of these things on, really. Actually, I did need the Wi-Fi on, so it could actually go out, and I actually did it. It updated the list and got the most recent listing of the conference, which you'll see in some screenshots a little ways from now. Say your device needs to be in a certain location when a map comes up on the screen. You can say exactly where you want your location to be, or you can select what region of the world you want. And there's, I think, about 40 different regions in the world that you can basically just pick a region that you want to be in. Okay, so now we can review and run our application. We can do confirmation here. We can go back and we can check all our settings and everything that we did here. I didn't do that in this case. And then we can actually go do a test run. So this This is actually a recording that I created. The test, as I said earlier, took over 4 minutes to run. So this is a compilation of the 4 minutes and exactly what a test run would look like. So I confirmed to hit uh, test run, created a new run. Test results, it did 3 tests, 6 tests, 9. Like I said, this took 4 minutes to do all this. Now we're on our 12th test and it's done. It's done testing. So this particular test took a little longer. It took 46 minutes, a little over 46 minutes to run this test compared to 22 minutes. Again, 46 minutes because I selected about 4 different devices. So divide that by 4 and you'll have how long this took to do this test run. So I'm gonna break up. Go
Just
ahead.
again, the costs on that, what would 46 minutes, what is it, 17 cents a minute or something like that?
Oh, you got a calculator in front of
Well, it's just a few bucks. It's not really the
you?
price of going out to buy a bunch of okay.
The 22 minutes ended up being $3 and something cents.
Okay.
So
Seven
about
dollars
$7.
$7.82 for those with the doing the math at home. So okay. All right. All right. So it's
I
not
did the
free, but
calculation
you
at the
know,
time,
yeah, okay.
but
Yep.
I forgot what it was. But so, anyways, I'm opening up my browser now, and I'm gonna go and I'm gonna show you the actual tests that I ran. These are the actual tests. I haven't run any tests since, and you can see here's where the last screen left off of, 46 minutes and 47 seconds. And if I click this, I can go in and find out the different tests that were run. And one of the biggest things that I loved about this, it ran, it found all the buttons on there, and basically did clicks on different screens. So if I click on screenshots here, I can see the application. And this was before any data came in. And so it knew enough to find this as a button, and this is your refresh to go get the latest data. It knew enough to click that. Here's the latest conference data loading. I didn't write any of this. This was all done automatically. And then here's a couple of screens with the data loaded. So you see Thursday's data, Wednesday's data. And this is on different devices, so we're seeing some repeats of some of these screens. But one of the other cool things that I found was that, Dave, you want to explain this one?
Yeah, I will take credit for that bug. That is in fact in my application. That if you hit the refresh button a couple times in a row before it finishes, you're going to get this error. And it was something I meant to fix, but I was like, oh well, you know, it'll be okay for now. And of course, the test found it. So yeah,
So the test found. So we thought that was pretty cool.
yeah.
It did find this. Dave, I went through the application. I didn't ever see this happen. So I thought that was pretty cool. So anyways, these are all the different devices that it was tested on. And I'm going to go back now to the other screen here and use a little bit more of our time here. So these are some of the remote access tests, and this is the one I actually ran live at the show. This remote test here. I'm going to start a new session here, and maybe we can take some questions because this might take a little bit of time. So I'm going to do the Amazon Kindle Fire tablet again. Select that device. I can select multiple devices. If I select multiple devices here, I can test against all of these at the same time. So I believe you would show one on the screen, but any test you did on one, it would do on the others. So I can confirm and down here and then start my session. So I'm going to hit start session, and now it's going in and looking to see if we can find an available device to test. As it says here,
That part I find amazing that they own lots of these devices plugged into USB cables throughout the world, and you can just connect to them. I think
yeah. So right now it's looking for one that's available, and this may take a while. It may take longer than we have here. Do we have any questions about what's going on in the meantime while we're waiting for this to load up?
There is just one question so far, which was someone asking about the JSON parse error, and the question was, how do you find which button bunked? In other words, how do you know what it was that caused it to create that error? And I'm not positive, but you can that an Explorer fuzz test would probably reveal that. I think you'd want to build your own test out in Calabash, and have it do it that way. So,
Yeah, and I think it may. I haven't gone through. It does give you a report of everything it did, and I
oh,
probably in that report can't find out exactly which button caused that. If I drill down into the report, which I haven't done yet.
all right. Well, we should take a peek at that. If not during this session, we can do it and report back.
Yeah, we're gonna go back and take a look at that, and we can report back on how well it did. This is all new stuff for us. We did the Amazon because that was kind of the theme of our show this year. There were a lot of things that came out that had to do with Amazon's
Yeah,
web services.
and cloud related, right? On which the Alpha Cloud is built on top of Amazon Web Services.
So we thought that was kind of appropriate. And you know what? Looks like it's in the middle of the day here. We're on the East Coast here. There may be a lot of people testing right now.
The fires are busy. Want to grab
Yeah,
another device, maybe?
I could try grabbing another. I can cancel requests and see if I can find something a little less common. So I did the Amazon Kindle Fire.
I'm interested on an iPad first
Let's see.
generation.
I don't see the Samsung 7. So how about a Galaxy 6? Maybe we can try a Galaxy. Actually, let's try one of the older devices.
Yeah.
Galaxy SC3. For running the start session. Maybe this won't take quite so long. And actually,
We'll give it a minute. Or not. Other cloud-related questions, or sorry, Amazon Web Farm-related questions while we're here. All right, this is what we get for doing live demos, huh? Oh, wait a minute. Did it find something? Uh-oh, did we lose audio again? Hang on one second. Get in touch.
on it. And then they also have a thing called a teardown suite, and that's basically pulling your application off the device. Because, like we said, there's actually physical devices there that they're testing these things on.
Sorry to do this to you again, but could you go back like about 1 minute, like just as you showed up to the screen and sort of go back over this stuff? We had audio drop out again, so.
Audio dropped out again. Okay, so where were we?
Yeah, right about there.
Right about there? Okay, yeah.
Yep.
So while this thing is actually still running over here, they gave me the option to go to a new tab, which I didn't realize, and so I just read it now.
All
So
right.
I can look at our old tests that we did here. So here's the built-in fuzz test, which I'm gonna just show one of the test results on that. And one of the things it has to do is a setup suite, and the other thing is a teardown suite, and these run for each device. Basically, the setup suite is installing the application on the device, and this may include installing another ABK file or loading up a zip file that it's going to extract the data from. In this case, it only took 21 seconds to install it on an iOS device, and then the teardown took 11 seconds. So here's some of the tests that were done on the device, and setting up starting the built-in fuzz test. Let me see. Let me find something here. Okay, here. So here's where it did some random taps on different locations of the screen. It does a lot of these, just random clicks, and this is the fuzz test. And
Oh, I see, and it gives you the XY coordinates of where it tapped.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So this is like just a random test. It's
It
not
looks like
the
it's just tapping all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. It's just tapping all over the place, trying to find things. The Explorer test takes a little longer to run, as you saw. It took a little longer to run that test, but it was able to be smart and find the different buttons and click them without having to go crazy random checking here. So let's back up to this screen. Let me just see where we're at. Oh, cool. We've got a device that came up.
Wow, cool.
So I can now install the application. I can upload a new one, or I can select recently uploaded. Let's select that one right there. Let's go to our apps, and did it upload it yet? I'm not seeing it. Hang on, let's try this again. Maybe I have to click upload. Well, let's upload it again. It doesn't take long.
Okay.
Let's choose this APK file. It's uploading it. You can see how fast it is. My mom has high-speed internet. I'm not in Arizona. She's still on the East Coast visiting family. So it's uploaded. It's now processing, and there it is.
Great.
There it is. There's the application. I just clicked on it. So again, their test went in and said, hey, here's a button over here in the corner. So I clicked that button to do a refresh. That was the next screen you saw, is getting the latest conference data. And there we go. There's the latest conference data, and I can click on any of these. So I don't have this device here. I never owned one of these devices, but I can test my application on this device remotely and see how it's going to look.
That's great. So that when your user calls you up and says, "Hey, my bring your own device is this Samsung 4.3, and you don't have one, and it has this issue," you can actually look at it and say, "Oh, I fixed it," or "Here's the issue," or you can diagnose what's going on without having to
So
hunt
I mean,
down
it doesn't have every device here, but it has the most common devices. They're going to have the most popular devices that they'll have up there, and they're going to be adding more, and they'll probably be pulling some away as they become less popular, like the Samsung 7.
Yeah. I was just looking through the device list recently. It was something like 140 different devices they have, so it's not a small inventory.
No, and if you had to go out and buy all those devices, that could become quite pricey, especially when you talk all the different iOS devices. When you talk an iPhone,
Well, the big problem is that you probably never remember to have the one that you need charged and ready to go by the time it's time to use it. You know?
yeah, exactly. You saw what it took to select a device here. It wasn't a lot. The Amazon wasn't available. That took a little longer, but this one didn't take too long, so that was pretty cool. But like I said,
right now the clock is running, right? As we talk, we're racking up these 17-cent charges. Is that
yeah, so I should probably hit stop on that.
There you go.
Look like I have about 54 minutes left, what it was showing there.
That's true.
So my session is ending.
Something
Please
about
wait.
getting free time when you first sign up for this service. Is that right?
Yeah, you get 250 minutes of free time.
Oh, well, that's a good reason to go test it out then. Cool.
Yeah, go test it out, play around with it. If you know your application is going to be done on a specific device, see if they have the device that you're testing. And like I said, it's going to have most of the popular devices that are out there. They're not going to continue to support on the device farm 23,000 different configurations, which is I believe what they're up to now.
Yeah.
So it's going to be what's most popular. So when I showed that fragmented listing of all the different devices from 2 years ago, they're going to be selecting devices that are from the upper left-hand side of that chart.
Right, that makes sense. Yeah, great. Well, like I said, we did have a short session here today. We will be back next week with Dan McCormick. We'll answer your questions. If you do have questions, though, please send them in to guides, GUIDES, at alphasoftware.com. Chris, thank you very much for presenting today. I'd like to thank everyone who attended, and we hope to see you next week. A copy of this and our other webinars is available at videos.alphasoftware.com. Thanks again. Take care. And have a great day. Goodbye.
Thanks.